Hello everybody, my name is Chris Haas. I'm the marketing manager here at Syntec, and today I'd like to walk you through the PCBuilder tool that we've just launched in beta. There we go. So at the moment you should be seeing our PCBuilder landing page. Please be aware it is in beta, so you might need to do a few bug reports as you go through. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to walk you through the builder, give you a little bit of background, and I think just show you what you can do as a customer, how you can use the tool, how you can engage with the tool, create quotes, etc. Cool. So at the moment you can see I'm logged into my account on the Syntec website. Two ways to navigate to PCBuilder. The first is on the PCBuilder landing page under Tools. Scroll to the bottom and you'll have a little button there that tells you that PCBuilder is in your dashboard. Right, so you can click on that, or you can click on My Account. That'll take you into this view over here. Here's your account dashboard. Tons of really great tools for you to use just in managing your orders with Syntec if you haven't checked them out. But today we're mostly interested in PCBuilder. So I've gone ahead and opened it up. This is the PCBuilder beta screen, and obviously one of the first things that you're going to want to do is to start building. So the way we've decided to come at building a custom gaming machine is to really try to understand what the user's requirement is. Generally, for most performance gamers or even entry-level gamers, you usually have a game in mind that you want to build a rig around, or the types of games you want to play. So generally we try and think about a young gamer might be playing Fortnite or Minecraft, and a parent might be trying to buy a machine for them. Alternatively, you could be looking at all the latest and greatest AAA titles, and you might be more interested in building a machine around the performance needed for Far Cry 6 or New World. Or you could just be really competitive and want to play Call of Duty and Apex. For this walkthrough, we're going to look at Fortnite and Minecraft. Once you've selected your games, you can select as many as you want. You just hit Start Configuring. The next step is to actually set your budget. So this is a key one, very important, because it usually is what your customer is going to be looking at to either the entry level or top end of their build. For the purposes of this, we're going to look at nothing larger than 20K. Right, and so once you start gaming, the system automatically loads in some what we call base builds. These are builds that are pretty close to your price point, but also optimized to handle the performance of the games you've selected. At this point in the screen, you can navigate between the base builds, and you can see as I'm navigating, your cost, the price you pay, changes. So does the performance estimate. So as we're moving between different base builds, different components, you can see as I'm moving lower, the FPS is dropping. I can obviously toggle my performance between 1080p to 1440p to 4K medium. You can see obviously not supported there. We can go higher again and start, getting different FPS scores for the different resolutions. For the purposes of this walkthrough, we're going to look at our entry-level PCBuilder AMD Ryzen 5 5600G Assault. So this is a chassis that's very entry-level, driven directly towards first-time gamers, new gamers, people who want to play Minecraft and Fortnite. Delivers great FPS at 1080p. Less so on Fortnite at 1440p, but 1080p is gaming's what your customer's looking for. Great rig. Also is inexpensive, relatively so, and you've got the perk of it not needing a graphics card, which are very difficult to come by in many respects. So at this point we hit customize. This takes us into the full PCBuilder view. This is, I guess, where all the magic happens. So one of the first things I suggest everyone do is for you to hit View Tutorial in the top right, and this is a great walkthrough, welcome and introduction to PCBuilder, to how all the different components, stack up, how you navigate, what the selections do. The tutorial is very much inspired by your typical 4X strategy game. The idea being that, there's so much happening, on a 4X strategy game that you need tutorials to walk you through. Here, it's a very similar idea. We just wanted to give first-time users, first-time customers, just a quick overview of all of the different tools, how they operate, what you can and can't do, what all the indicators really mean. So I'll let you guys go through that in your own time. So a couple of things to immediately look at in this, in this view. First off, you can move between components. So these are all of the pieces that relate to your chassis typically. You can move to accessories, which is a category that includes your CPU coolers, case fans, software, and cables, to the rest of the peripherals around a machine. So, the mice, keyboard, even down to external SSDs, gamepads, and chairs. So you can really build just something as simple as your gaming chassis, or you could expand all the way into peripherals as well. So we're going to go back to components. On the right hand side, you'll see choose your components. So these are each of the subcategories within components. So for instance, I'm going to go to graphics cards just to show you that the system doesn't actually have a graphics card selected at the moment. So if we go to processors, you'll see immediately that your 5600G is selected. So one of the things you'll actually notice immediately is that Intel CPUs are not compatible. So what we've done on PCBuilder is we've got a whole host of compatibility logic in the back end that looks after all of those pesky connections between the different components. So theoretically, it should be impossible for you to build a machine that could not physically be built by our PCBuilder assembly line, right? So if I click on not compatible here, this will tell you that the motherboard, the AM4 processor socket, is not compatible with LG A1200 CPUs, so it's the Intel CPUs obviously. And so at this point, you could change the motherboard, or you could remove all the incompatible items if you really want that Intel CPU. So we're not going to go into too much complexity at the moment. Let's just move between some of the other categories and just point out a few things. If we go to your crucial RAM, you'll see that we've added both kits and single units. So you could come down, you could say, I'd really like 16 gig of DDR4 RAM, 3600 megahertz, and my quantities, I'd like 2 of them. That obviously then pops the price up a little bit. Or you could, go back and just say, let's just stick with the single kit for now. All right, so that's very simply how you can move between and add and change components. You can sort, from highest to lowest pricing. You can look for specific brands. Multiple ways that you can filter the product selections. What is very important, obviously, bottom left, you can see the 3D Mark game performance estimates. So these are obviously estimates derived from 3D Mark themselves. So it's independent game estimates based on their benchmarking of key components. Here it's the processor, graphics card, and memory, which are the key drivers of that performance score. In this case of this build, we don't have a graphics card. So that would be the G series CPU. And you can see the 1080p score on Minecraft. You can change that to Fortnite and see the FPS scores you get there. You can click learn more, toggle, it'll take you through just a few more expanded bits of insight into what these different scores mean if you're not familiar with TimeSpy. But I'll let you guys get into that as you go. On the top right here, you'll see that there's even a power indicator. So hypothetically, if I were to go into graphics card and let's just take a 3090, that should pop the power estimate all the way up to orange. When you get to red, you can't actually check out this build because it is no longer compatible. You don't meet the power requirements. So again, just a lot of really cool compatibility tools in the back end that stop you from trying to build a PC that's impossible to build. It means it's a lot more user-friendly, and you can select the parts for you that make the most sense and push out the FPS you're after. All right, let's just say hypothetically I don't want to add any accessories or peripherals. I'm very happy with this build. At this point, I could even rename this build. So I could say Chris's build 2.0, love numbers, and I could save that build right? And at this point, I can save a number of builds. I can go view them, so I could create my own base builds, save them and keep them in my profile, which could be really, really useful if you have a couple of standard builds you'd like to, position as options to your customers. Let's say I'm hypothetically very happy, would like to now preview this build. At this point, we go to the preview screen. This is the final, opportunity to really see what you do and don't have in the build, where you might be out of stock, where you might need to select another product. So it's obviously pushing me to memory and saying, look, we've got no stock on this. Can we, select another component? So we'll let's just add some. There we go. Let's go back to preview. And you'll see at this point, the build is actually ready to check out. There's a whole bunch of sections I haven't added, not necessary for this conversation. Cabling is here as well. You'll see at this point that I've got a 10% margin set right over here. So there is a default margin for every account going in. It's something we're tweaking at the moment, but this is completely controlled by you as the reseller. So I can go into, this cash sales account is obviously the Syntec account I'm currently on. This would be your account number or your account name. At that point, you can just pop in over here. You would go to margins, which is fourth option from the top. When you click on that, it'll take you into a screen which lets you control the margins that you apply to the component category. So you can either set this at a very high level. So you could say on components, I want to be competitive. I want to make 8%. On accessories, I'd like to make 20. And on peripherals, let's go 20. At that point, you could set that. You could go into subcomponents, and you could actually, for every single subcategory, you could set your margin requirements there. Entirely up to you. Another really cool toggle that we'll go over soon is this display cost prices. I'm not going to go there now. For the purposes of this, let's just go back to our PC, just gonna jump through this quickly. There we go. Right. So now that I'm customizing, you can see that my margin, because I'm only using components and very little else, is set at 8%. So my including selling price has dropped a little bit. So you can obviously tweak your margins. So let's say at this point you're very happy with the build. You think you've got a winner option. Now you want to, save it and send it to your customer, whatever that might look like. So one of the cool tools we built in is if you go to preview build. Sorry, it's going to ask me to change the memory again. Let me sort that out. Okay, there we go. At this point, you can create a quote. So I want to show you all of my details, but you'll put in all your basic information. You can upload your own logo, so your own company's logo, to this quote. It'll show you the previous ones you've loaded, so you can see that I've obviously got a Syntec one that we're using at the moment. You'll set all your pricing. You can once again set your margin. You can, let's just say you wanted to get that to 9,999, and you'll put in a whole bunch of other information on your customer, the customer info, delivery info if you need it. And at that point you hit create quote. Obviously I can't do that at the moment, customer name is required, so let's just go and enter. Let's just go and let's just make it Syntec's address. Right, and create quote. And you give it a moment to create the quote for you. So there are two ways that you can access these quotes. The first is if you access it in the back end. The other is that you'll get an automatic generated email. So yeah, you can see I can download the PDF or I can view the quote. If I miss that little pop-up, again, just go back to your account, look in this back end here, and you'll be able to go into your section, go to order history, all my builds. They'll take you to a back-end navigation screen. Let's wait for that to load. And here's where you can look at your latest order, what you were currently building. You can look at quotes that you've maybe made, builds that you've potentially saved. So you can see we've saved quite a few here. So let's go look at quotes. And I can view the quote online. So this will show me all of the parts in here. You can check out the code from this point. Let's view the PDF though. So this is great. If you have a look here, let's just zoom in a bit. So your logo for your business could come top left here. It'll do your account name in the top. You can put your rep details, etc., etc. All of those details you've populated in that previous screen I showed you. Your customer details will show up. Shipping details, and then obviously the FPS scores of the various game selections are available at 1080p, just so that you can really utilize those independent benchmarks, benchmark estimates to show the potential customer, like, not only is this great for what you're looking for, it's going to do exactly what you want. Which I think is really powerful. It's a really powerful way to say, that not only are you, spending the right amount of money on a machine, that it's going to do everything that you want it to do. As you scroll down, you'll see your total including there. It's a couple of cents off. We're still tweaking. And your banking details would automatically populate if you had this set on, I think it's Syntec derived bank details. So if there's an error or a problem there, you can actually just get in touch. Every single quote has a powered by PCBuilder at the bottom. So obviously that's the underlying, compatibility tech. So something else I wanted to just show you guys. It's really, really cool. Let's go back to margins. So let's say hypothetically you want to do this whole process over again, and you don't want to create like 7 quotes and send that through to your customer. This time around, you actually maybe have the customer at the store, the customer's online in a Teams call, and really wants to build the PC with you, or has some feedback, or wants to see where they can save a couple of rand or whatever that might be. So obviously you don't want to show that potential your end user your margins. That's not great. It doesn't work at all. Let's just go to a build here to have a look. Let's preview this build. And so obviously none of this information is something that you want to show your end user. So what you can do, let's close that quickly. Let's go back into margins and display cost prices value up here, this little checkbox. Uncheck that box and then hit set price display settings. That'll then update. You'll see the update notification here, and immediately let's just refresh. Let's go through the process again. So start building. Again, we're building that entry-level PC, and we want to stick it to 19K. And at the moment, what you can see is the selling including price. So all of your margin that you already set in the back end, that's all what's informing this selling price. And you could take your customer through this at this point. They wouldn't see any of your costs. They wouldn't know your margin. Completely friendly to show them. As you move through it, you can see those prices, move up and down quite clearly. And you can be assured in, knowing in the back end that you have those margins set where you'd like. Let's say the customer really wants to build that Intel PC. Let's just customize it quickly. And at this point, because all of the checkbox values for different products are set as negative and positives, it means that the customer never really sees the independent price of any of these products. And it also means that if a customer is potentially, like, let's say, this is an overkill PC, but let's say they wanted to eke out, some extra FPS in 1440p, you could go and you could say, cool, look, here's some options on GPUs. Let's look at, we've got a GPU here. Let's look at what a 3060 Ventus 3X does, if anything. And you can start to really play around with different options. You can add, let's just say, a TI, maybe up that price a bit, and drive, an extra 25 FPS in 1440p. So what this means is that, for these extra frames, you're really tapping into just a question of plus and minus, rand on either side of the price to push out those frames you would want for the game that you're interested in. So as you walk a customer through this, you can imagine how powerful it would be to say, look, you're still not happy. You want a game at 1440p, 95 FPS is great. But maybe the customer is like, cool, let's try and save a little budget. Let's potentially, drop that down to, something much lower. Let's look at a 1650 isn't in stock, but let's look at a 1650, and that drops to 30 FPS. So we can really start to unpack both if you're increasing the price or reducing the price, how much you're willing to fork out for the frames you're after. I think it's a great way to understand choosing different products, which can be overloaded with tech jargon. All right, those are kind of the two areas I really wanted to show you. I would suggest that you guys check out the system. It is in beta. If you can drop us some feedback directly to myself, chris@syntech.co.za, or your account rep, we'd love your feedback, your thoughts. Currently, the system, PCBuilder is available to all of our registered resellers, and no additional fee to use the tool, to use the quoting system. Please use it. Please let us know your thoughts. Thank you.